Hello, hello, hello. Ground control to Carbs. How are we?
I'm all right. Yeah, how you been doing?
I'm good.
Yeah,
Welcome back.
yeah. Been up to anything at all? Like any, trips and anything like that? Any exploring?
Well, I'm always out and about. I thought you meant am I up to something in general, more like, well, yeah, I'm sat making a podcast with you.
Yeah, yeah.
But we can get into all the nitty gritty. If you're joining us, this is the Salad and Carbs podcast that was previously known as the Never Seen Out Like It podcast. Is buried somewhere on SoundCloud with 16 listens. Go and enjoy it. I'm guessing that is probably the reason that we're here. Going again with a bit of a rebrand, some new software, some new stuff to use. We enjoyed the first one. It was really good. But we wanted to try some new things out. The future is always approaching. So it's good that we are utilising new systems. Welcome to the Salad and Carbs podcast, 2 of your 5 a day. Kick back with a bit of salad and carbs. How are you, Carbs? How have you been? What have you been up to?
I've been pretty good. I think last time we spoke on the incredible Never Seen Out Like It podcast, which was the previous name, I think I'd just been to Tunisia, I believe. That's how long ago it was.
Wow.
It's been over a year. It's been over a year. Yeah, I have done a few things though recently. I went to Belfast not so long ago. Got nice views, just nice activities, just all around good trip with a friend of mine. It's been a busy March for me, a busy March. A lot of plans this month, and I'm looking forward to doing nothing. Believe it or not.
Looking forward to doing nothing. Nice views, nice activities. It all sounds rather exciting. Yeah, I can't believe it's been 12 months. It's ridiculous, really. I remember when we first done it, and we were buzzing about it. But I guess, like you say, a busy March. It's been a busy year, hasn't it? Really.
Yeah.
There's always something on, and me and you, we tend to be battling it out on a court rather than trying to make podcasts. So it's quite nice that for one of our weekday evenings, instead of slogging it out on the local sports court, we're actually here making, I guess you could call this episode 1. The first one would have been a pilot, I guess. So you went to Belfast. You had a good time. What was the best thing that you did in Belfast?
I think mainly just like the views and things that we're taking to. So I can't remember the specific names. I mean, there's a huge lock in Northern Ireland, isn't there? And we were only taken to like one part of it, but like the whole area is really nice. There's lovely views, fresh air. The atmosphere is really nice. I mean, while I'm on it, like the people are very welcoming. Just the people of Belfast are very welcoming on the whole, and just got to see some nice things, like just things that you sort of see on TV, and you're like, oh, I wish I could go there and see what it's like myself. And then it never does it justice seeing it on a screen. It's always good to be there and experience it for yourself, I think.
Okay, interesting chance to segue into something interesting here. So what you're talking about there is the aura of the object.
Yes.
There was an author, I was going to say a famous author, but I don't know how famous he is really. Depends if you studied sociology, I guess, called Walter Benjamin. And he wrote a book called The Work of Art in the Age of Mechanical Reproduction. And in that book, it's only a thin book, it's a belting read, he talks about the aura. And what he's trying to get across is that now we live in that age where, the Mona Lisa can be printed en masse, so we can all see the Mona Lisa. Nothing will ever replace being face to face with the artifact, with the object, because of its aura. And what you're talking about there is, we can all do a quick Google image search these days. We're spoiled, aren't we? You know what I mean? I can click a button and an hot dog will land in my lap. You know what I mean? That's where we're at now.
Yeah.
I could probably click a button and a lot more things can happen. But you enjoyed the aura because it is just sometimes incredible. To actually be faced with the object. It's nice of you that you, even though you enjoyed it so much that you can't actually remember its name, there's a certain irony in that, I believe. But, next time, take your notepad and I'm sure you could even use Google and find out what it was.
The thing is that a lot of these places that I went, I took photos. And you were talking about technology just a minute ago, and like I could look at my photos and I could look at where the geographical location of where the photo was taken. I could do that, but I should remember it. I shouldn't have to rely on that. I should remember it. Like that's an aspect as well. I feel like you can rely on technology too much, where then you end up don't doing as much. Like you become too reliant on it.
Are we losing our brain power because of technology?
Yeah.
This could be a full episode. Maybe we'll have a look at this at some point.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, I'm gonna probably say possibly, because if you don't use it, you lose it. Back when I was, when we were younger, like 9, 10, first getting mobile phones, friends are getting mobile phones, mum and dad have got mobile phones. I need to be remembering some people's numbers, those sorts of things. And you could always rhyme them off top of your head because you just wanted to dial them in. Even when we were using the phone at home, the classic phone, stationary object, used to get me taxis, pizzas, all kinds of mischief could be achieved with the old phone. Whereas now, you know what I mean? It's just, I just go on my recents. I don't call anyone new nowadays. I add them and never ring them. I'm done with them.
It's just a phone book, isn't it? Like phone book full of names. It's interesting you say that because I literally remember a time when, like, I could pick up a phone and I could type in 6 digits to my mate, and I knew it was going to be his house. I mean, it might not necessarily been my friend that picked it up, but I knew that house number. I still know it now. From the age of I do know that phone number, and I mean, I know my house number of the house I lived in. I still know that, and I know my friend's phone number that used to ring quite a lot. And it's the thing is that, like, if you have to know it, you will know it, and if you don't have to know it, you don't. And then that means that you're kind of restricting your brain in a way as well.
Yeah, I think so. I think we needed it back then because you knew that. I mean, there were always methods. I remember my parents, particularly my dad, had a phone address book. My gran had one as well. Like, everyone had an address book, with the A, B, C, D, E, F all the way down the side. You'd flick it open. You'd have numbers for everyone. Mayor of Accrington, Mayor of Blackburn, Mayor of London. It's like, what's he doing in here? You know what I mean? I got his number once. Right, no problem. Whereas, I guess when you're frequently using them numbers, or when you were in the past, you were probably committing them to memory a little bit through that ritualistic notion of repetition. Whereas now, we aren't. Like, I find it with maths. When I was younger, I was so good at maths, and I'm still quite good now.
Very much a numbers guy, though, aren't you? I'm going to say that right now.
Yeah, I do like my numbers, but I think there is a reliance on the calculator now. And even I noticed this. It's like, oh, come on, I should know the answer to this. Like, I shouldn't need. And if I sit there and really concentrate, I can do it. And I enjoy that because that's like me training my brain, claiming back a little bit of what, like, the tech world has taken away from it. But it's not all doom and gloom. Like, technology is facilitating this conversation right now.
Literally, yeah, you're right.
There are tools out there. It's how you use them. You know what I mean? So it's good to be back. I'm happy that you've had some nice travels. We are going to probably have a break, like a mini break. It's been like a mini introduction section. It's sort of got that feel to it. So what I'm going to do is to lead us nicely into the next part. Well, maybe not lead us nicely into the next part. Maybe to give this part a little bit of closure. I'm going to say to you, Carbs, you have 20 seconds to tell me everything about your trip to Belfast. Go.
Right, okay. So, awake at... Oh, God, this has gone totally wrong. I wake up at 3:30, get to the airport, get there, Tim Hortons, go to the lock, come into Belfast Castle, Guinnesses, out that
3,
night.
2,
out that night, awake for 24 hours.
Right, thank you very much for that, Carbs. I'm sure you're going to get better at this. If
That
I
was
keep
a very
dropping
bad
them on you.
start. That was a very bad start, but I feel like I did tie it up. better.
It was. I had a feeling you were going to ask if you could start again, but I was looking at you like, nah,
Nah, it's not happening.
you're on your own here. So yeah, we're going to go for a break. It's lovely to have all 16 of you back, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about Thomas Tuchel's England.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Salad and Carbs podcast, where you will be getting 2 of your 5 a day. Before the break, we were talking about technology. We were talking about trips to Belfast that we can't remember, but we can remember because technology helps us remember. Are we in? Are we out? Shake it all about? Who knows? But now we're back from the break and we're going to be talking about Thomas Tuchel's England. The reason I picked this for a topic was, one, it's pretty recent and pretty topical, and I think there's quite a little bit to unpack. So if we just go back a little bit, we'll come back onto the recent games, but let's go back to when the announcement was made that Thomas Tuchel was to be the man to replace... Has he been knighted yet? Is he going to get knighted? Is he a knight? Is he a knight?
Not sure.
I'll tell you what, a few clicks of a button and we'll find out what... Whoa! He is a knight! So, the man to replace Sir Gareth Southgate is Thomas Tuchel. How did you feel about it when the news dropped?
I think a lot of England fans' perspective of it when it first dropped was, a German in charge of England, we can't be having that. Honestly, my first initial take on it was, if he helps us win something, I don't care what nationality he is. That's literally my take on it. I'm more bothered about what he can do with the team rather than what passport he holds.
I like that opinion. And to be honest, how many of those people sat there going, yeah, mate, he's a German. Germans can't manage the England team. Yeah, but you're English and you drive a Mercedes or you drive a BMW. So is it okay for an Englishman to drive a German-made car, but yet we can't have a German-made England team? Go and have a word with yourself. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sort of in the same camp as you, that I think if he has won things in the past, which he has, he's won quite a big one with Chelsea. I think it was disgraceful that he was sacked at Chelsea, but obviously they had major changes and it was very tumultuous at that time. New
Very
owners
chaotic.
and all that jazz.
When Roman Abramovich was having to sell the club or something.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
the
yeah.
sanctions came in, and then he had to sell, and he sold to the Americans, and then and before that, Tuchel had taken them to win the Champions League, and they beat Man City in the final.
Yeah, huge win that, wasn't it?
It was a Kai Havertz goal, which is a rarity. Not so much this season. He's not done so bad for Arsenal this season. And he's in his number false 9 type role, whatever he's up to. We still can't decide what to do with Kai Havertz, but just put him somewhere and he'll do something.
And let him do his own thing, innit? He's a professional footballer, just let him do it.
Yeah, he's quite tall. He tends to score a lot of headers. But back to Tuchel, he's got the pedigree. Like, for me, the Sir Gareth Southgate side was very sideways. It was very, I don't want to say boring. There were no risks being taken. But if you listen to Southgate speak, I think the team was made in his image. But it sounds like you've got something to say about Southgate.
Yeah, the way I see how Southgate set his team out, or should I say his approach to tournaments, the word I would describe is pragmatic. And I think he's looked at what you need to do in order to win a tournament, and he's done those things, whether that's entertaining or if it's like on the face of things, it looks ridiculous. He didn't care. He had a plan and he stuck to it. I mean, he'd even gone to other sports to look at how other sports deal with what he wanted to do as well. He looked at American football, basketball, all that sort of stuff to get any sort of inspiration. He's very committed to the job, and I feel like he looked at, like in his previous tournament, he looked at it and he thought, what do the teams that win tournaments usually do? They usually don't concede a lot of goals. And he's looked at conceding minimal goals, clean sheets. Okay, so we make our team committed to defence. Great, you keep clean sheet. Does that mean you score a goal? Hopefully you get one. If you don't, what was his backup plan? he had penalty takers on the bench, and he was looking at keeping a clean sheet. If the goal didn't come with the clean sheet, the penalty shootout was something he was prepared for. And it was all tactics. It's not necessarily how you should go about winning a football game, but that's how he looked at how he wanted to win the tournament. And I respect it. I respect the analytics, statistics side to it that he went with.
I mean, it's an interesting take, and yeah, I guess, he did go on view other sports and do his research. The pragmatic man, the statesman, you could call him, doing his Dimbleby lectures now. Is Sir Gareth Southgate, such an influential figure on society. However, he went round collecting recipes for custard and he ended up making scrambled egg. You know what I mean? He went round to win. We're going to win. We're going to bring it home. Yeah, man. To bring it home, you need to score goals. Something that people like Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, possibly even Thomas Tuchel have their teams to be more than capable of. I get the whole clean sheet thing. I'm a Burnley fan, and Burnley are the masters of keeping clean sheets this season.
Not top of the league though. That's another point, isn't it? Burnley are keeping clean sheets, kept loads of clean sheets. The defence has been immaculate, but they're not top of the league, which is, I think, the point that you're getting to.
It doesn't guarantee your success. It's a great foundation, but if you don't concede and it ends up 0-0, it's a draw. You do need to counteract that with a little bit of risk. And I guess, I'm not a football manager, but I guess that's that trade-off. Great foundation, but can you turn that and give you that little bit of an edge higher up the pitch to just get those goals? And don't get me wrong, I was loving life when Ollie Watkins scored that goal against Holland to send us through to, I was loving life when Cole Palmer scored the equaliser in the final.
In Spain.
But as soon as the ball went down that left-hand side for Spain and Walker was way out of position, and I said, we're in trouble here. And lo and behold, the ball came in, Oyarzabal beat Pickford to it, and there we go. But we're not here to talk about Southgate's England because he's been and gone, and he's probably going to be like top businessman, top politician, top lad, top sir, whatever he wants to be. Tuchel's England. So we've talked about, the fact that he's a German, all that sort of stuff. I'm on board. For me, it's a football team. England, we've only won the World Cup once. Germany have won it more. Brazil have won it more. Argentina have won it more. There's so many teams that have won it more than us. Let's have any of them. You know what I mean? Let's actually make some custard. You know what I mean? Let's get it right for once. Or at least, and I think we weren't that far away. So not much needs changing. And I actually have the team sheets from the previous two games. So the first, I think they were World Cup qualifiers, weren't they? Yeah, World Cup qualifiers, Albania. So they were both games at home, and I'll give you the starting 11 so you can gauge, those differences from what we'd have seen from Southgate. So Pickford in goal. We've got Kyle Walker, Ezri Konsa, Dan Burn, Miles Lewis-Skelly, back four. Then we've got Declan Rice, Curtis Jones as two defensive midfielders. Then we've got Phil Foden out on the right, Bellingham as the centre attacking midfielder, Rashford on the left wing, and then Harry Kane up top. What do you think about that?
I think on paper it sounds good. I think when I think of that lineup, you didn't mention Cole Palmer in there, did you? No.
He's off the boil at the minute, is that lad? He hasn't scored a goal since December, I don't think.
I mean, yeah, although that is true, I just can't help but want him in the squad because he offers something different. When he's on, he's on. I think you need a bit of that. You need a bit of spark. You need a bit of quality. And I mean, don't get me wrong. We won 2-0. It's not like we needed more quality in there. We got the job done against Albania. No offense to any Albanians out there, but it was against Albania. It's not. I don't know if that squad still does the job against a better side. What's your opinion on that?
I tend to agree. And I think we're just finding out about Tuchel a little bit because already the comparisons are, it's too much like Southgate's England. And I think if you look at the the majority of the team, you're not going to reinvent the wheel. Like, there's still going to be a lot of that core there. Pickford's still there. Declan Rice is still there. Bellingham, Kane. Like, Kane's probably, and Pickford are close to the end of the careers versus Rice and Bellingham. But I still think for the next tournament, which is the World Cup, I think you're going to have that same spine. I mean, Kyle Walker, he's gone on loan to AC Milan. I don't think he's pulling up any trees, as the old cliche goes. Konsa, having a good season at Villa, seems to have the centre-back shirt first pick. Dan Burn was in that team. Dan Burn, first cap at 32. I think that's brilliant because for me, growing up, I've always seen England teams that maybe weren't always picked on merit. I always had this thing that they were picked on revenue opportunities or capitalist tendencies. It's like, we're going to pick David Beckham because he's selling a lot of shirts.
But was he actually performing at the time when he got picked, though? I mean, he's just always the captain or he sells a lot of shirts.
And like the Gerrard Lampard thing, and it was like, well, Scholes was good for a long time.
Square pegs and round hole situation. When we were playing like Frank Lampard on the left wing or something at some point.
Honestly, it's just like, just drop one of them and try to make the team good. But back to Dan Burn, I thought it was incredible that it was picked because
it's good, isn't it?
It's not just about what he offers on the pitch; it's what he offers off the pitch. So he's a leader. He's very vocal. Same with Jordan Henderson getting a recall to the squad. I know he's like out at Ajax now, and he was out in Saudi for a bit. And it's not the level he was at Liverpool, but let's not forget he's not getting any younger. Your legs might go, but your mouth doesn't, and your brain doesn't.
The squad.
Yeah, absolutely. Bit of togetherness, and I think they need that sometimes. Proper chuff for Dan Burn. He scored in the he scored in the Carabao Cup final, and then he scored for England. He did not score for England. Quick fact check.
Google.
Yeah, no, he didn't score, but it was a very good week for him because he won the Carabao Cup. And then he had his first cap. And I mean, first cap, scoring. Same difference, in it. You know what I mean? I'd be running around like this if I had first cap, that's for sure.
You'd be doing your I've just saved an ace finger pointing thing that you do. That's what, I mean, I've seen that too many times.
The messy finger of the clear out, absolutely. Miles Lewis-Skelly scored. He actually did score. Unknown entity for me. I mean, I know of him, and I know that he's like been breaking through at Arsenal, but look like we've got a bit of a left-sided player on our hands here.
Yeah. You want a bit of competition as well. Like if you're getting like strength in depth as well. Like if a player knows that, I've played in this position for I got X amount of caps. I'm good. I don't need to work too hard I don't need to be pushed to do this. Like, but if you've got someone breathing down your neck, it's like you get dropped for a game. So, I'm going to say that was my position. Well, he's done. He's had a good game, but I want to get back in there. And then you get like the internal competition, like healthy competition. I don't think it's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, I think you're right, and I think if I was playing, let's say, Football Manager or maybe FIFA back in the day, like career mode, ideally you want 2 players in each position. You probably want someone who's already of the standard, not always world class, because everyone doesn't need to be world class, but maybe they do. Depends what you want to win. But then you need that understudy vibe as well, that up and comer. And sometimes the roles can be reversed. Like the established star might not be on it at the moment, and the up and comer might be the one in form. And then you've got decisions to make. Quick look at the second game before we go to a break. I am wary of the time, so I'm just going to move it on a little bit. So Pickford, Reece James came in this time. Mark Gay replaced Dan Burn. Lewis Skelly kept his place. Bellingham was now playing in a bit of a deeper role alongside Rice. So we lost Curtis Jones. Jarrod Bowen started out on the right. Rashford kept his place on the left. Morgan Rogers played in centre attacking midfield. And again, Harry Kane also started.
Your man Harry Kane.
My man Harry Kane, who I don't particularly rate. Now, hear me out on this. When we come to measure the greatness of Harry Kane's career, we're going on the currency of trophies. And the man has got too many missing from his cabinet.
Yes.
He's a goal machine. He is a goal machine. But he's not won anything. And for me, that is the benchmark. Like, I know he scored, and the thing is, right, I'm chuffed for him because he's gonna probably win the league in Germany, and that makes me happy because I think he deserves a trophy for everything he's done. Now, can they somehow win the Champions League? I mean, that'd be incredible. To be fair, I'd rather he won a World Cup with England. Yeah. That would be the creme de la creme, and I think he'd love that as well. Yeah. To be honest,
he's an England man, and he loves playing for his country. He loves it.
Well, we went to watch England versus Finland.
I was hoping we were going to get onto this, I wanted to talk about this.
Back in September. We're not going to dive into it too much.
Yeah.
But I remember sitting there going, Harry Kane, he's rubbish, blah, blah, blah. Guess who scores both goals?
You were constantly dogging him all game long. It was to a point where I was like, I was just laughing at it. It was so funny. Like, just your own brand of sarcasm and sense of humour. I thought it was funny, but I went literally agreeing with what you said. But yeah, you weren't his biggest fan. I'll be blunt with that.
He don't move. He's lost his legs. He's not as nimble as he once were. But he put me in my place that night. Did miss.
Well, you celebrated just like the rest of them. You didn't stand there with your arms folded like, oh, it's Harry Kane that scored. You embraced it. You're like, oh, good on you, lad.
I'm an England fan. Like, exactly. He's the captain. He's the main man. He turned up. He proved me wrong. So yeah, I was delighted for Kane. This game 3-0 against Latvia. Latvia way down the rankings versus Albania, who I think Albania are around that 50th ranking.
Should have beaten those teams.
Latvia are around the 100 mark. I haven't got the figures to know for sure, but I think that's about right.
Yeah, it's true.
We should be beating those teams. So for me, the jury's still out. I don't know what we're going to see from this Tuchel team. I like the fact that he's called up players who had seemingly fell off the England conveyor belt in like Henderson. I like that. Rashford, he went to Villa. Don't know what was going on at Man United. Went to Villa. He started playing again. He gets back in the team. Palmer fell off a cliff for Chelsea. Doesn't get in the team. So I like the fact that there's a bit of a meritocracy going on.
Yeah, agree.
Like you said earlier, though, let's see what happens when we come up against the Spains, the Frances, the Argentinas, the Colombias, the Germanys. You know what I mean?
Which national anthem does he sing?
They'd be singing ours before long.
Yeah.
Hey, he'll have a pint of Wainwrights in his hand or something like that. So we're going to go to a break because we were sort of talking about how when you might play a football game, and a little bit of management. And I think we're going to have a look at football games when we come back after the break. See you then. Welcome back to the Salad and Carbs podcast, where you can get 2 of your 5 a day. Before the break, we were talking about Thomas Tuchel's England, and we were having a look at their most recent fixtures. And while we were talking about that, we did sort of gloss over the fact that if I was managing a team, now where have I managed a team? I've never managed a team in real life, but I have managed a team on a game. I've managed teams on FIFA, on career mode, but I think the one that gave me the most satisfaction was Championship Manager, as it was called back in the day, and then it became Champ Man, mate. Honestly, I could rhyme them all off, and then that became Football Manager. So, gonna start off with football games. Carbs, where are you at with football games?
I'm just going to be straight up with you. I started playing football games probably the early noughties. I got quite good at them. And when I say football games, just FIFA. Didn't play Pro Evo. And then I got bored of it. I got to about 2008 and I'm like, why am I still playing this game? There's other games out there I could be playing. I'd rather just watch the sport, go to games, stadiums and watch it on TV. And I didn't get the fulfillment that everyone else was still getting from gaming on FIFA back then. So other than playing the odd game here and there when round at friends' houses and stuff like that, it's been since 2008 since I've played properly.
2008? That 2008. Is a long, long time ago. 2008, wow. And we've lost a potential great, I feel. You know, because I imagine that you know when you get into something, you get into it. I
Yeah.
imagine you'd know all your flicks and tricks. And in 2008, there weren't much happening on FIFA, to be honest. You know what I mean? Characters were only just getting out of that blocky mould.
Mm.
2008, wow. I have recently stopped playing FIFA, but I have played FIFA for a long time. It's called EAFC or whatever it's called now.
Same thing, innit? It's FIFA.
Yeah.
It's a football game made by EA.
I've retired from FIFA this year because I'm fed up of Ultimate Team, and I know, like, it's such a genius model is the micro transaction. All games are at it. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what game you play these days. If you want the premium content, you either grind like a bitch or you pay. Pay to win. Yeah, absolutely. And I was willing to do the grind on FIFA, and you just can't compete with the people who have just got the bigger bank balances. And for me, that is not a competition. But I guess that's the way of the world now. You know, if you can pay for a shortcut, take it.
Yeah, I just want to ask as well, because I'm not as familiar with all this Ultimate Teams and stuff on FIFA these days. When you say pay to win, I was wondering that you've gone the route of grinding your tits off to get to what you needed to get that other people will just pay for. In the route of using lesser skilled players, have you become a better player so that when you do get a good player, you can utilize them better than someone that's just took the shortcut to pay for it? I think that personally, you're going to be a better player for grinding that out. And that's kind of ultimately what I want to ask.
I think ultimately there's an element of that because you have to find ways to win with what you've got. Now, don't get me wrong, you still need something because some of those players, like classic Ronaldo or Nine, like I've had entire teams of good players, icons, inform cards, specials, all this lot, that the total value of my team doesn't even cover Ronaldo. One Ronaldo can I have? Like, never mind the fact that they've got Ronaldo, Zico, Pele, Cantona. The list goes on. It is obscene at times. And yeah, there's nothing more satisfying when it's the David and Goliath situation. You're going into a game, you see all the icons and you think, right, I'll fucking have you. And then you go in and you win. Because you think, you've never driven a Yaris, so how do you know how to handle the Porsche?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You've not learned the ways. And I think, people can do whatever they want. But yeah, the pay to win element just got to me a bit too much. So I play eFootball now, which is like what Pro Evo used to be. So when you were saying you were playing in 2008 FIFA, prior to that, in between 2004 and 10, they were my prime Pro Evo years. And I think a lot of other people went to Pro Evo because Pro
Evo was definitely the main competitor back then. Definitely. I remember it was very divisive amongst friends. It's like, oh, what are you playing that game for? You need to play Pro Evo. Or it's like, oh, Pro Evo's crap. It hasn't got the rights to all the teams and all the competitions. Why are you playing that? Why would you, play a team that doesn't exist? It's boring. So there was that constant battle between people. A bit of fanboyism, a bit of patriotism, which kind of comes with the territory for sports fans as well. I mean, when I look at it now from the outside looking in, when you're in the middle of it, you don't see it this way, but for someone that hasn't played FIFA properly for a long time, the outside looking in, it just looks like, well, why would you play Pro Evo? Because it's just being left in the dust, from my opinion.
Pro Evo back in the day, gameplay-wise, was a little bit better, I think. Like you were saying, you got bored of FIFA. I'm guessing you got bored because it was just the same old shit every game. Same old stuff. Yeah, same game.
Same game, new year. It's just different. It was the same game, just different number on it. Different players in the game, different player on the front cover. I was just I'm playing the same game over and over again. There might be something else that they've added, but then that just becomes the status quo of that game, and then that's it. You've learned it, that's it.
Yeah, I felt that Pro Evo at the time was a little bit more cutting edge. Konami were making the better game, and then over time that sort of shifted back to EA, And I think EA threw all their eggs in the basket with Ultimate Team, and look at it, you know what I mean? What a monster that thing is. So much so that eFootball, which is what Pro Evo was, it's made by Konami, which I've downloaded because it's free. It's a free game. But again, there is that pay to win element.
Microtransactions.
Yeah, absolutely. But what I found is that, to be honest, what do I want? I just want to play a football game occasionally. What does that mean? Well, it means that I want to have a group of players, like an Ultimate Team setup, where I can choose my formation, pick some tactics, pick players that I like, or at the minute I'm playing a little bit of like what I call anti-football. I'm playing a 5, like I'm playing a counter-attack game. I have a lot of defenders because...
High press as well.
Probably not a high press, no. I do like to engage, but I'm happy to sit back and wait. And then I've got players like who are my midfielders? Darren Fletcher, the old icon. Darren Fletcher, and I can't remember the other one off the top of my head. Pep Guardiola. So I've got Pep Guardiola and Darren Fletcher as like CM and DM. And I've got Messi, but it's a particular version of Messi. It's when they won the Champions League in 2015. So he is 108 rated, which is disgusting. So he's my attacking midfielder. And then I have Michel Platini and Didier Drogba.
Oh, what a player Drogba was, though.
He's a
great
machine. He's not the greatest finisher. I think Haaland is unbelievable.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is this year, right, is that eFootball do this thing called a player role. So Drogba, yes, he's a striker, centre forward, whatever we want to call it, the bracket. But he is a fox in the box. And a fox in the box does something slightly different than a target man or a goal poacher. So the player operates in a different way. Funnily enough, FIFA have brought in player roles this year.
Yeah.
Which gave me a little chuckle when I realised that they brought that in to the mix this year.
They've got their eye on them. Yeah.
They need to keep their eye on them, I guess, being competitors. The game is clunky. It's not as smooth as FIFA. The licenses thing, can you live with it? I've tried convincing a few of my friends to play, but they just can't take the plunge. And then I boil it down and I think, does it really matter if the team is called Man City or Manchester Blue? Does it really matter? What frustrates you in games is stuff like lag. Like when you press a button and then the button doesn't land, doesn't compute, and then it's like, oh, I've died, but I shot him. Or I pressed pass and it didn't pass and now they counter-attacked and scored. Like, really? That's the stuff that should be riling you, not the fact that they're not a real team.
It's the gameplay features that should be frustrating you rather than the rights of what's on the game. I'll tell you what, one thing I did like though, it's weird that I remember this. My memory works in weird ways. So I remember being at someone's house before and they're all playing Pro Evo, a bunch of lads all playing Pro Evo, they're all having a laugh and that. And then I remember watching a couple of guys play and everyone's getting into it. There might have been some money on it or some wager on it or something. And then someone gets a goal and everyone goes wild. Like, oh, that's great. And then like the player that scored the goal in the game celebrates. And then the offside flag comes up. And I loved that feature. It's so minimal, but I loved it. And like they literally let you think a goal had gone in because you'd scored it while they were offside. And because there was time, like in FIFA, as soon as the ball went to an offside player, doesn't matter what happened after they touched it, it don't matter. Like it just whistle went. Whereas in Pro Evo, they let it play out a little bit to see what would happen. And then if you scored a goal in like maybe a second, they would play a goal celebration. And it was great. It was a great, because that is what happens when you're a member of the crowd at a game. Like when it happens that quickly, you haven't got time to check the linesman flags up. You just celebrate anyway because you've seen the ball hit the net. And I thought it was a really, really in tune with the sport feature that they had in there. And that's got nothing to do with the gameplay. It's just like a quality of life sort of thing. But my mind works in weird ways. What's your opinion on that?
No, it's a good feature. I mean, it's pissed me off. Yeah, it's pissed me off a few times. Like especially when it's like 2-2 and it's like the 89th minute and you need a winner, and then you score. But it gets to a point though where you know, because you have to know. because you can't rely on, oh, he's running off doing his celebration. No. You need to know that is in, because you as a player know we're offside. Other people are going, yes, and it's like, nah, mate, it's offside. But the amount of times when it saves you, that's the best feeling. Like I've had goals conceded, and then I'm there thinking, yeah, we're offside that, and the flag's gone up and you're buzzing, and then there's the ones where it's like, that we're offside. What? But kick off? Are you mad? They were offside.
Yeah.
No, they are the worst ones. But it is a good feature that they added. And I think it's pretty much standard. But like you say, FIFA used to be a bit clinical with that. You know what I mean?
Mm.
It was like VAR these days. Yeah. Whoa, an atom.
Literally got the lines out like VAR would do, didn't they? But this is like back in 2004 that I'm thinking about.
That was VAR before VAR. It's like, whoa, hang on. An atom off Henri's boot is slightly ahead of an atom on John Terry's boot. It's offside. So yeah, maybe that was VAR's predecessor. We're going to head to a break because there is another sort of area of football game that I do want to talk about. But it has been fun talking about FIFA and Pro Evo, and
it's been a bit nostalgic for me, to be honest, more than anything.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a throwback. I hope you're still with us. I hope that you're enjoying this new version of the show, if you will. If this one goes well, I guess we said this last time, and then it was 12 months before the next one appeared. A little bit like Kindle's gigs.
Wee, bounce.
Anyway, if this one goes well, then hopefully there'll be some more for you to listen to. Stay tuned. We will be back after the break. Welcome back to the Salad Carbs podcast, where you can get 2 of your 5 a day. Before the break, we were talking everything FIFA and Pro Evo. The main reason I wanted to talk about those things is in the first part when we were talking about Thomas Tuchel's England. I mentioned managing teams. Then I sort of used FIFA as a way to get back into that discussion. But really, there was another game, or 2 games I guess you could call it, that really allowed you to be the manager of a football team. And that game is none other than Championship Manager. How many hours I have sank into this game during my life, I do not even want to know. I retired in about 2015, I think, and I haven't touched it since, because that thing is a black hole. You can lose your life on that game. It is that addictive. I need to ask you if you've come across the game or what you know about the game. Have you played it?
I'll tell you what I do know about it before I start with what I don't. So my knowledge of it is I always heard guys talking about, I took Aldershot from the conference and took them to the Premier League. I took Forest Green Rovers, Woking. I heard all these stories. Close friend of mine, his team was always Harrogate, and it's the team that he made a connection to because he got them from the bottom bowels of the game, or managed them to a Premier League winning team. We all know how unrealistic that may be, but it's part of the game. It's what people like to play it for. I personally have never done that. While we're on topic, I've never played a manager game. It's never appealed to me. But I do respect what it is and what it stands for and what it's trying to replicate. A lot of people out there, they like the idea of managing a team. And if you've never been a professional football player, it's hard to get into that. Games, being able to replicate things, this is where it's helped people live that fantasy out. Another aspect that I have of knowledge of manager, or lack of knowledge with it, my dad used to play it a lot. Probably know the theme tune that I used to play it a lot. And I could still probably know the theme tune that was on the background of that particular game he played. I'm not going to do it, but I think I know it. And he would always be sat in my bedroom, I will add, on the desktop PC playing it. And I didn't mind that. One thing that did annoy me though was that my dad's a smoker and he wouldn't leave the room to have a cigarette. So at the time I was in school, so I'd go to school the next day smelling like cigarettes, and some people would wonder what I'd been up to, and it was nothing to do with me. Anyway, a little bit of a tangent. That's my knowledge of manager in general, really. I don't know an awful lot. I've seen things here and there. I get the general gist of it, but I've never wanted to play it.
Okay. And did your dad ever have any major achievements on the game?
He did that whole thing that I mentioned before, taking a team from the bottom to the top. Everyone does it. I think he is a Leeds United fan. I will say I am not a Leeds United fan. I didn't get raised up the wrong way, so I'm not a Leeds fan.
We all love Leeds, we all love Leeds, we all love Leeds, we all like Leeds, we all like Leeds, we all like Leeds.
Being a Lancashire man, I couldn't possibly support a Yorkshire team. It just goes against who I am. Anyway, he's a Leeds fan. First of all, he would always take Leeds. They were always in the Premier League on those games anyway to begin with, so it was just a case of getting them to win it. He would do that. He would do it on the hardest difficulty. Then he would want a bit of a challenge, and he'd take a team from the conference or whatever the lowest tier was on that particular game and take them all the way up to the Premier League and win the Premier League, as I mentioned before. He liked the challenge of it.
I loved Championship Manager. I think I first it came into my life when I was about 11 or 12, and it was at the time when I was just getting into football. So before I was 11, I was playing like Final Fantasy and like Crash Bandicoot, and I was like a Zelda man and all that sort of stuff in those early years. And then football happened, and I started to play football, and I started to go and watch football and play football games. And Championship Manager 01, 02, 02, 03, 03, 04, Champ Manager 4, Champ Manager 5 potentially, and then that's when it became Football Manager in 2006. I played FM 06, I played FM 09, I played FM 12, and I played FM 15. Oh my word, some of those games, some of those players, like the early ones, Champman, you didn't even have a pitch. You just had a box on your screen, and your box would say like, Freddie Ljungberg plays it out to Pires, who takes his man on down the left-hand side. He crosses the ball in. Thierry Henry smashes it in, and then it'd just flash goal for Arsenal. And then it'd be like, Pires the architect. What a saying. Oh, he was the architect. He made that goal. And all the same sayings had come up, but it was just brilliant. You'd have a bar at the bottom of the screen that would show like your team's possession from the last 5 minutes. Oh shit, they're all over me. Oh God, I need to change things. Get Toledo on. He'll fucking bag. Get Daniel Brathen on. Honestly, the list is endless. I think 03, 04 was the pinnacle for Champman.
It's the Arsenal's Invincibles season, that, by the way.
It is, actually. That game, I think there's a file out there somewhere on some computer, on some laptop that I previously owned, when Manchester United, I think they won like 10 Premier Leagues in a row. You know what I mean? The game might as well just eject itself and say, there is no point in you playing this anymore. You have definitely completed it.
Mastered it.
You know what I mean? You can still remember the names of the players who scored your goals in Champions League finals, like Issa Eliakwu. Like, who the fuck is Issa Eliakwu? I don't know, but he scored, and that's all that matters.
It was important to you at the time.
Honestly. And obviously, like, football knowledge, geographical knowledge has come from that game, because you'd be wanting to sign players. Where are them players born? Can I... If I'm an international manager, can I potentially rob them for my country? Like, there was a Thai striker. He was 15 years old at the beginning of the game. He was called Supat Rungratsamy, right? And he was Thai. But if you got him early enough, you could have him for England. And he was one of them players. He were a Portsmouth reserve at 15. You'd sign him for like 5p. And then a bit of compensation, whatever going rate were, then you'd loan him out. You'd loan him out to the Leyton Orients of the world. Then it'd be the Millwalls. Then you might send him to Aberdeen if he's lucky. And then when he were about 20, you'd bring him back. Obviously, you've got to keep getting him to sign contracts. And then when he comes back when he's 20, he is the world's best footballer. He is literally ridiculous. As long as he's got the first team experience when he's been out, he's unbelievable. Like, what's that? You play for Thailand? Not anymore, mate. You play for England. Because I am the England manager. My name is Sir Salad, and I'm the England manager, and you're my main man. The game was incredible. There was there was always lists online. You could search top CM wonder kids, and then there'd be a list of them all. But it was satisfying when you found your own.
Found it
I've got a
yourself.
friend. You also know of this friend, but I'll leave them anonymously named. Let's call them a mutual friend. But this mutual friend claims to have scouted none other than Robin van Persie before Arsene Wenger, and I'm probably a witness to that. So it was just some young Dutch thing at Feyenoord long before the Arsenal scouts ended up having a look at him. Lo and behold, he was unbelievable on Chapman. Who is this guy? Why is he so good at football? And obviously, you've had the ones who didn't have a great career in real life, and then you've had the ones who've had great careers in real life who didn't. But the thing about it is that the stats that go into the Football Manager games and the Champ Manager series, they're very, very clever people who invented the game. And
they do the
there is
research
a lot,
and the scouting and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so much so that like their databases and things like that are used by lower league clubs. I mean, even probably the top clubs use them as a starting point. But not only that, like, I've got an article up at the moment. You know who Will Still is, don't you?
Can't think of it at the top of my head, no.
He is, I think he's an English manager, but I think he was born in Belgium, or he's got a Belgian parent or something like that. But he's the manager of, is it Reims in France? Or he might be managing another team in France now. Depends. The article's from February 2023. But he's still managing in France, in Ligue 1, as it's known as. Ligue 1. But Will Still learned football managing from Football Manager. And he's like 32 years old now, and he's managing in the top league in France. And he's not the only one, because I remember articles, and you're talking like some out there nations who are low down in the FIFA rankings, where people have gone, look, I've won loads of trophies on Football Manager. Like, I know how to scout and set up a network and, all that sort of stuff. And people have been given jobs on that basis, but it's because the game is so detailed and the information in the game. But there's always those cult heroes. So me and this mutual friend, I'll ask this mutual friend for permission to be named, because I imagine this name might come up now and again.
I think I know who it is. Does the first letter begin with a K?
It does indeed.
Yeah, I know it is.
So this mutual friend, we discovered a Norwegian striker. We needed a striker at Man United. So do we go to the top of the transfer market? Do we look at the Petzinis, the Luca Tonis? No. We're going to the Norwegian First Division. We're going to Molde. We're going to Rosenborg. But we're having a look. There's a lad there. He's called Daniel Brothen or Daniel Broughton. The spelling depends on which year game you're playing. My word, what a guy. So eventually, Champman 0203, we got a 2D pitch, and you could have little circles and then the yellow ball. And it was good because when the ball went up in the air, it got caught to indicate that it was in the air. Oh, it was great. It was all you needed. Like, there was no better than seeing like your little circle on edge at box. He gets the ball, he spins, boom, top bins. It's like, I don't want a 3D pitch. I don't want to see him doing overhead kicks. I just want my circle scoring his 30-yard screamer and watching that ball bounce off the bar. Honestly, Daniel Broughton, there were a few. There were Toledo, there were Broughton, there were, like, even Cristiano Ronaldo did it, but they had this thing where they could kick the ball in front of them and there'd be defenders like near the ball and they had no chance. Like, the animation wouldn't allow for him. You know what I mean? You could have had Paolo Maldini in there and it'd have been like, I can't do anything. Daniel Broughton is here. Daniel Broughton does not compute. He'd literally kick it about 10 yards in front of him, and you just knew what was going to happen next. He'd get it back, and then he'd go to the most ridiculous angle, and you think he's not going to shoot. And then he shoots from there, and he goes in top bit. It's like, oh, I can't even cope with this game. The funny thing was, I once worked at a place called the Soccer Dome when I was a little. And occasionally, in winter, you would have teams like Bolton or Burnley or Blackburn. They'd send the reserves to train at the soccer dome because it was quite high end then. It was new and the pitches were good quality. Guess who turned up for Bolton reserves? None other than Daniel Broughton.
The one that you've been scouting.
I was stood there like this.
And you knew what he looked like?
Well, yeah, I'd Googled him and stuff.
Yeah,
I know that Bolton had signed him, because obviously you're following the story. But it was like, you're Daniel Broughton. Do you know how good you are on Championship Manager? And then off he goes. Don't speak English, my man. Whatever English he speaks is very minimal. But yeah, honestly, I was like, wow. But football players apparently do play Football Manager. They love it. I mean, how weird must that be? Like, even when you're playing FIFA, Jude Bellingham sat there on his laptop like, oh, look, I've got me and Job playing as cams for Real Madrid. Or Job sat there going, oh, I've just managed to sign Jude on loan from Madrid for Sunderland. Yeah, mate. For actual players, we're going to go back to FIFA here briefly. Real players, if they've got an ultimate team, they have their own card that only they have. And it's 99 rated for everything.
So it's like a player privilege.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know if they like authenticate it or whatever, but they have a green, well, it was green on one of the FIFAs, green card that's 99 rated on everything, and everyone would get right excited on like Reddit and stuff because it'd be like, yeah, mate, just played Van Dijk. Yeah, mate, just played Kyle Walker. And the only reason that they could verify it is because they had their card in the team. Yeah.
Yeah. I've always wondered, like, with these professional football players, you know, the FPL, the fancy Premier League. I wonder if, like, the Premier League players that play it, if they do actually, like, put themselves in, like, it's like, oh, yeah, I'm well going to score against them. I'm backing myself. I always wonder if they have that about them. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I don't, where does that come into the thing of, like, you're sort of getting into, like, I know FPL doesn't count as gambling, but
no.
Are you getting into a realm of FPL? Yeah, it is for a bit of fun, but yeah, I guess so. Like,
yeah,
they might all be in a league with other footballers. I imagine the bants and stuff that goes on is unreal. If there's any footballers out there who are playing in the Premier League who want to get involved in one of these podcasts, please come and join us and fill us in on all this stuff. It would be actually insane because for now it's all just speculation. But yeah. Do Premier League players play FPL? Do they triple captain themselves and think, I'm going to smash it this week?
I'm getting a hat-trick today. I'm triple captain myself. The thing is, though, the way I see it is that if you aren't confident going into a game, you shouldn't be playing. So in a way, like, if you are backing yourself to do it, well, good on you, because that means you've got confidence.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, if you're going into a game and you're not confident, then you shouldn't be playing. But I guess sometimes you might be like a team's star man or in the top 3 players, and manager will just be saying, I don't give a shit if you're not confident, mate. You're playing. Like, look at Cole Palmer, you know what I mean? He's pretty much guaranteed to get in that Chelsea team. Yeah. So I think we are going to go to our last break, and then when we come back, we'll talk about maybe other sports games, because we've talked a little bit about football, FIFA, Pro Evo, Champman, Football Manager. I think it'd be nice to wrap this one up with a little bit of talk on any other sports games, maybe some any other business, and maybe we drop Carbs in it and throw him another 20-second game.
In the deep end again right there.
Absolutely, I'll throw you in the lock. We'll see you after the break. Welcome back to the Salad and Carbs podcast, the only place where you can get 2 of your 5 a day. We're in the last section of today's episode. Today, tonight, tomorrow, yesterday. You know what I mean? Depends where you are in the world, I guess. You know, we've got 16 listeners according to the previous pilot episodes figures. You know, where are you, 16 listeners? We need to know. What time zone are you in? Anyway, in this episode, we have been talking about football. We talked about Thomas Tuchel's England versus Sir Gareth Southgate's England. How did we feel about a German being in charge of the England team? A little bit like the Englishman driving a German-manufactured car. Then we looked at football games, and in particular FIFA, Pro Evo, and then we sort of moved into Championship Manager and Football Manager. And me, I've got a wealth of experience in those games. And I felt that Carbs, it might have been a bit of an education for Carbs. He's a bit of an outsider looking in. He hasn't really delved into that much. So now I'm going to open it up in this last section and say, Carbs, are there any other sports games that you have played?
Yeah, first and foremost, I would say the sports game I'm probably the most familiar with is Topspin. It's a tennis game, and there was Topspin 3, which was my first one that I got into, and there was Topspin 4, and slightly unrelated to gameplay, but I will just put it out there. Those games, banging soundtracks. While we're there as well, I know we've done talk about FIFA, but just slip it in. FIFA soundtracks as well. Come on, it's worth a mention. Anyway, what were great about Topspin was like it covered all different types of play styles. You want to be a baseline offensive player, you can do that. You set up your stats and your coach to do that. You want to be someone that's serve and volley, you can do that. I wouldn't advise that because it's bad in the game. But the other third style was defensive baseline, where you do a lot of running. So like you might focus on your fitness. It was good because you could kind of play the game how you wanted. Whether you'd be successful doing what you wanted is a different story. But anyway, the option was there. Topspin 3 was a little bit difficult for beginners, like for people that aren't into people that may not actually play the sport of tennis themselves. Where Topspin 4 came in, it was a bit more user friendly, explained things better, and it was a good one to come into. Have you got any experience playing Topspin at all, or any tennis games at all?
I have played a bit of Topspin in the past. I did enjoy it. I think you go on the tour, don't you?
Yeah.
You win the prizes. You become the top ranked player in the world. Blah 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 blah. You win the Grand Slam, all that sort of stuff. And I think nowadays you can even play online, can't you? Against other opponents.
It was always online. Yeah, it was always online. It was good, and I remember there was an achievement. There was an Xbox Live achievement for that, where they would say, lose a game online without winning a single point. That was not a hard achievement to obtain. I did that without trying.
Yeah, I think with the online feature, I think that sometimes nowadays it's a lot better, but back in the day it was a bit laggy. And sometimes I'd hit my serve, and then the next thing you know, I'm like, my player's like led down near the net, and the players like cheering. It's like, nah, that is not what I envisaged. Topspin, yeah, I've played a couple of the Topspins. Did you ever play Grand Slam Tennis, the EA tennis game?
Never played it. No, I think Topspin was the 2K Sports one, and I never played the EA one. But I've got a friend who's really good at tennis games, and he said to me, it's just not worth playing the other one. He said he plays all the tennis games. He said just like stick to the 2K Sport Topspin ones. So I guess like I should have formulated my own opinion. I should have tried it, but at the same time, I was happy just playing Topspin. What's your opinion on the EA one?
See, I didn't get too much into it. I didn't have it. Would you believe it? The mutual friend with the name starting with K had this game. So I actually was fortunate enough to try it. The cool thing about it is that you could change the controls so that your right analog stick became your shot. So you like pull it back and then flick it forward. And then obviously you could flick it to the left, or you could flick it forwards or to the right, or you could like pull it. Like the right stick was key in applying spin to your shot, which I thought was crazy because you could literally play shots that defied physics. Now, doing that on a regular basis was not easy. Like, you were sending them long, you were sending them wide, but sometimes, like, you just need something a little bit different, and you could just get, like, maybe you were, like, mid-court, maybe a little bit over to the left-hand side, right-handed player, and you could just zip it up and down over the net, and it was just beautiful to see. Whereas, I think on Topspin's very like animation oriented. All games are like it all depends on the animation and what is available. Like you can only do what the game will allow you when you put the right inputs in to create that outcome. And I think eventually it becomes mechanical because really
memory.
I mean, FIFA's the same. Like there's so many shot types and stuff, and I think they are getting better with the repertoire of shot
selection.
Yeah, and even serves and stuff like that. I haven't played a tennis game for a while, but I do like them.
Yeah. The EA game though, it does sound interesting now you've said it. I think it'd be interesting to see like how it differs, but I never give it a go. Like it's a little bit looking back at myself, I probably should have given it a go. But did your friend, did our friend? It was his game. I take it.
Yeah, I don't think they played it much either. I think when it comes to gaming, I think a tennis game to captivate the imagination to play it for a long time takes a lot of doing.
It does.
It needs a good online mode. You need good gamification, like
game mechanics.
Cool, I can put some Adidas shorts on. So what? I can just go down to direct sports and do it in real life. Like, it needs to be a bit more than that. What about any other sports games? Are there any other that you might have played?
So,
yeah?
After tennis, I would probably say WWE.
WWE?
I throw one in there. You didn't expect that one, did you?
I was going to guess Madden or something like that.
No, I've only ever played Madden once, and it was when I went round to a friend's house, so I've not got too much involvement with it. But yeah, there was a time when like on the PlayStation and the PlayStation 2 you had your SmackDown games, and then they were usually like the subtitle of the SmackDown game was like a line that one of the many lines that The Rock would say.
SmackDown, know your role.
Know your role, just bring it, all the above. Yeah. But you know what, like whether you're into wrestling or not, I mean at the time I was at that age. When I look back at it now, I'm like, how can I even watch that? It's a soap that's got wrestling in between it, which is staged as well. If you like it, you like it. For me, I grew out of it. But regardless of that, the actual gameplay of these games were pretty decent. It were pretty good. Like it was addictive, and there was like a lot of variation types of games you could have. Get your mates around, you can have a laugh. The best thing was the Royal Rumble, where you got 30 men, and then like you get knocked out the match if you're thrown over the top rope, and you can have like 8 people in the ring at once, and it's just absolute carnage. It was always a laugh. Like you get like proper wound up about it, like being thrown out by your mate. It's like, why can you have gone for the NPC? Like, why do you have to go for me? It's like, and your mate's like, so the opportunity. It's like you can pick someone else if you want. And then you never forgive them for it.
Oh, yeah. The first wrestling game I had was WWF No Mercy. It was for the Nintendo 64. What a game that were. Honestly, that was my first taste of wrestling games. And to be honest, there have been football games like International Superstar Soccer 64 or something for the N64. For a football game, it weren't that bad.
For the time.
Yeah, it did a job. But No Mercy was the predecessor to the SmackDowns, the Raws. There was a SmackDown for
Attitude. Attitude was the one for me. That was the one that got me into it.
The SmackDown one with the blue and whitish cover.
It was blue and black, I think. Oh yeah, blue and white, but the logo is blue and black. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever it were, that one, honestly, unbelievable. Loved it. Create your own wrestler. If you're gonna create your own wrestler, he's gonna be as high as I can have him. He's gonna be as wide as I can have him, and he's gonna be as heavy as I can have him. Do you know why? Because they're really hard to wrestle against. And I remember, but it wasn't me on this occasion, and it wasn't the mutual friend beginning with K. It was a different friend. But they had made a character called Big, or Huge, or something. That they all had terrible names because we were all so young. Probably names I don't even want to repeat on this podcast, to be honest. Yeah. But giving it the old, you'll never beat my guy. My guy's sick. He's got good finishers. He's absolutely unreal. It's like, mate, get him in that ring now. I'll show him what's what. Listen. You be your man. You be Statue of Liberty or whatever it's trying to be. I will be Stone Cold Steve Austin. Right, get in that ring now. Or you know how it goes. It literally like watching wrestling. The big one's on top. He's giving me some grief. He's trying to pin me, but he's got out of the pin.
Yeah.
He's on a 2 count. Oh, the big man, the Statue of Liberty, is giving him grief now. And then all of a sudden, the momentum changes. It's a stunner. Stone Cold Stunner. Oh my God, he picks him up. Stone Cold Stunner, he's gone for the second one. Oh my God, it's 3 in a row. Oh my God, he's gone for the 4th. And then, just to top it all off, he's done 5 Stone Cold Stunners, pinned him, boom. See you later, mate. See you later, creative character. And do you know what I mean? I probably brought my mate, so I
think you probably did. Yeah. He wouldn't have played you again. Absolutely not.
It's got to be done, hasn't it?
The thing is, though, is that like if he made like a big Statue of Liberty sized character, thinking it was actually going to make a difference. It's just a change in the character, man. It doesn't actually change anything. It's not going to be difficult for Stone Cold to pick him up and do a pile driver just because he's bigger in that game. Like in reality, yeah, he probably won't be able to do it, but the game doesn't recognize that. It's not programmed to do that. So if he was making a guy as big as the Statue of Liberty on that pretense, I think he's learnt a very valuable lesson about the game.
Yeah, it was a classic. I think it was the one where like when you had a bar, and then when you gained enough like power or momentum, you got like a little button, like a smackdown button, and that meant you could do your finisher. But then by doing a finisher, you probably got another one, so then you could chain them. And I think I just did a big chain, got the pin. I could have pinned him after 2, but you know what? We're good because Smackdown came across the screen in massive letters. Smackdown. It was like, do you know what? We're getting into this now. Wrestling. Best one. What a show.
The best one was the Rock. How like his super. I'm in Destiny terms here. It's not super. The finisher. His finisher was the People's Elbow, and they need to be all you need to do to proc it is for your opponent to be lying on the floor, and then you go over to the head and you press the finisher button. When that finisher is over and you does the elbow on him, the opponent is still lying where he was, and you can just do the same finisher again from the same position. And if you had finishers to chain, you could just do it over and over again. There's nothing your opponent can do about it. Absolutely nothing. They may as well just put the pad down and then that's it. It's over. That was one exploit that I may or may not have used a few times.
See, for me, the Rock's finisher is the rock bottom. I know he did the People's Elbow.
It was a favourite move. It was but I agree. It is his actual finisher, but the way they programmed it, they wanted the People's Elbow to be the finisher. It's like the most electrifying move in sports entertainment today.
Oh dear, what a throwback. Yeah, wrestling was class. I haven't played it much these days, and I think, like most games, games were simple then, and they've become a little bit hard. Like FIFA, if you want to do like loads of skills on FIFA, you know what I mean? You could probably fly like a SpaceX rocket if you can do all them 5-star skills. And I guess it's probably the same for wrestling games. I don't know. I probably need to download one and have a laugh for nostalgic reasons.
Nostalgia trip.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're coming close to the end, but I just want to hear if you have got any other honourable mentions in regards to sports games.
The only one I've got down here is played a little bit of NBA, but I've never been a basketball fan and I've never really watched it. But for a time, I enjoyed it. I played for a season with Miami Heat, but I can still remember some of the players that were in that squad. Was it Beasley, Chalmers? I remember 2 or 3 of them because they used them quite a lot doing the slam dunks and stuff. It was fun for a time. Rode it out, and then that were it, really. How about yourself? Any more honourable mentions for yourself?
Yeah, I played a bit of NBA. One of them, like, I got invested, and they've got like an Ultimate Team vibe going on now. So I think it was one. Yeah, I got a free Kobe Bryant card. I got a few other players, Nikola Jokic maybe, the big guy from Denver Nuggets who's like unbelievable, the Serbian guy. And then I played a few games, and then because I didn't, so I had like 6 days or something to confirm my account, and I didn't do it. And then I signed in one day. Oh, you've got to start again. It's like, nah, mate, I won't be starting again. You've lost a customer.
Yeah.
Good night, Vienna. Like,
100% agree. 100% agree with that.
We're done. I'm not sinking that time. I were enjoying it, but I ain't doing it again. So they lost me. Other sports games. Played a bit of golf. A few golf games. They can be quite therapeutic.
Mario Golf is probably the only one I've played.
Proper PGA Tour or PGA Tour.
Tiger Woods Golf was it as well? Was that the name of it?
Are you sure about Tiger Woods? It might have been. I think it's just PGA.
You'll know more than me. You've actually played it. I played Mario Golf on the original Game Boy. That's all I've had from golf games. So
can't even tell you the name of the game. But sports games are evolving, and my partner has something known as an Oculus Quest. But we're not going to get into this because this is a huge topic. Might be something we want to look at in a future episode. But the future of sports gaming has headed into a virtual space, I would say. All very interesting. I'm going to give you 20 seconds to tell me all about Blackburn Rovers this season. Go.
Started well, picked up some form. Transfer window Funds were cut. The manager got annoyed, left, went to Derby County. He got an assistant in who won a few games, got an actual manager in called Ishmael, for his name. And we haven't won a game yet.
We're done. So that was like 21 seconds.
Yeah. On the same wavelength for that one.
So we're done. That is it. Episode 1, Episode 2, Episode 1.5, The Phantom Menace, whatever you want to call it. That was the Salad and Carbs podcast. We will see you next time. Thanks for listening. If you've been with us, tell all your friends about it. Give it a like, give it a share. Let us know if you had a favourite part. Let us know if there's a topic you want us to talk about. The plan always was to, explore a vast plethora of different subjects. Let us know your thoughts. We haven't got anything set up per se yet, but we will be working on that, so I'm not too sure if you can let us know. Just throw a paper airplane outside and hope it lands on one of us until we get some proper details set up. But yeah, any feedback, likes, shares, anything like that, all very useful at this early stage. Thanks for listening. Carbs, thank you very much for joining. It's been a pleasure.
You're welcome. I've had a really good time, and I just want to thank anyone who has listened to this, Mike. Just for listening to the whole thing and putting up with our ramblings. If you found it interesting, great. And if there's any way that we can get hold of any feedback from you, we'd be happy to hear it.
Well, that leads me to say, this was the Salad and Carbs podcast, the only place where you can get 2 of your 5 a day. Sayonara.
Au revoir.